Hello. How many teachers have you had from kindergarten to the present that were the same race as you? Now think about how many teachers you've had that have not been the same race as you. Do you notice any discrepancies in these amounts? As current college students, it is important that as we continue our higher education journey, we leave the school system better than we found it, because teachers will continue to educate and influence the future generations. That being said, the government must do more to encourage diversity and representation in the school system. In this speech, we will discuss the disparity between the number of students of color and teachers of color, how diversity in teachers can lead to increased success with students of color, job outlook for teachers, and how to bring diversity into the classroom. To begin, we will discuss the disparity between the number of students of color to the teachers of color. In most states, there is a large and growing gap between the percentage of students of color and the percentage of teachers of color. Efforts to increase teacher diversity have led to marginal increases in the percent of teachers of color from 12% to 17% from 1987 through 2012. But this positive statistic obscures other troubling facts, such as the decline in percentage of African American teachers in many large urban districts and the lower retention rates for teachers of color across the country. A new study from the Hispanic Journal of Law and Policy found that there have been little growth in the numbers of college faculty members of color. The aforementioned study examined doctoral status institutions between 2013 and 2017 and found that the number of Hispanic and Latino faculty members grew by less than 1%. The number of Black faculty members grew by 0.1%. Both of these sources come from authors Partlow, Spong, Brown, and Johnson. The publisher was not mentioned, and it was published on September 14, 2017, from the website America Needs More Teachers of Color and More Selective Teaching Professions, Center for American Progress. The second source was from Janice Gossam Asare. The publisher was not available, and it was published July 23, 2019, from the website Why Are There So Few Teachers of Color, from Forbes.com. Next, we will be discussing the correlation between students of color's increased success taught by teachers who look like them. As mentioned in Chapter 7 of the book For the Love of Men, there is a link between student success rate and being taught by a teacher who looks like them. Quote, "It is well known that having a same-race teacher increases students' test scores and how much they look like their teacher. But one study that examined 100,000 African American elementary school records from students in North Carolina found that the impacts stay with the child long after they've left the school, and that the effects on children from low-income homes are even larger. Researchers found that the simple act of encountering one single Black teacher lowered the likelihood of dropping out of school for low-income Black boys by 39%. Having a Black teacher between grades 3 and 5 increases the likelihood of all children aspiring to go to college. Plank 209. This book was made by Liz Plank, and it was published by St. Martin's Press. It was published on September 29 in 2019. Next, the job outlook for teaching. Quote, "Overall employment, education, training, and library occupation is projected to grow 7% from 2021 to 2031, about as fast as the average for all occupations. This increase is expected to result in about 600,000 new jobs over the decade. This comes from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The publisher was not available, and it was published on September 8, 2022. This came from the website of Education, Training, and Library Occupations, Occupational Outlook Handbook, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov. So, how do we bring more diverse teachers into the school system? By introducing diversity into the classroom. More classroom diversity prepares students for their future. The world around us is increasingly culturally diverse. It is extremely likely that the students will be working in a field that is incredibly diverse, and classroom diversity can help prepare students for that future. It increases their cultural awareness in a classroom setting, helping set them up for success in the future. Having respect and kindness for culturally unique individuals will help them succeed in a career where it is likely that they will interact with those different races and cultures. This comes from Western Governors University. The publisher was not available, and it was published on May 4th, 2020. So, in conclusion, throughout this speech, I have hopefully informed you about why the government must do more to encourage diversity representation in the American education system and how this change will benefit all students. In this speech, we discussed the disparity between the number of students of color to teachers of color, how diversity in teachers can lead to increased success with students of color, the job outlook for teachers, and how to bring diversity into the classroom. Next, we will look at the statistics that back all of this up. Here in this first statistics board, you can see that over 80% of teachers in the U.S. were mainly white teachers. This graph is from 1990 to 2018. Here in this next graph, these are the top 10 states that have the most teachers.